promise I actually do own a different outfit. I'm just trying to get a photo of this sweater today. Sorry about the noise. I'm carrying my luggage because I just checked out of the Airbnb and I'm on my way now to Victoria Station to head off to Wales.
That's why they call this borough the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, and they say there's more million.
Wherever, yeah.
Rugby, and bit of controversy with that song a couple of years ago. Aberystwyth. Yeah, if you do have any troubles with Aberystwyth, don't worry. We've got a guide, and he can't say Aberystwyth. He always calls it Aberystwyth. Aberystwyth. he's a Londoner. He talks a bit like that. So I always tag him up.
Hey friends, it's Heidi. I am all settled in at the bed and breakfast here in Aberystwyth, and I'm quite near the water, the Irish Sea, so I can hear the ocean sounds, the sea sounds through the window, which is really wonderful. And what did we get up to today? It was mainly a driving day, to be honest, because we went pretty much straight across England and into Wales, so didn't really get off very much because it was pretty much full on the entire day of driving. Let's see, we stopped briefly in the Cotswolds at a town called Burford, which was really lovely. It had all the limestone buildings that's in that like beautiful yellow color, and I met a rock sculptor and had a coffee there, and then we got back on the car and then we drove another 2 hours to a town called Wight, which is known as the town of books, the entire town is, I think there's 26 books for 1,500 residents from what the guide had said. And so it was really nice to walk in and get all that old book smell, because all of them were used bookstores, and there was even like an honesty bookshop where there was just shelves outside, and then in the cinema there was all sorts of books as well. Yeah, it was just a book lover's paradise. They actually have a really big literary festival there, which is kind of where a lot of authors launch their new books and things like that. I'm sure that's something a few people have heard of anyway. So I know people back home were really excited to hear I was going there who were real book lovers. So that was the first stop, and that's pretty much at, I think, half of Hay-on-Wye is in Wales and the other half is still back in England. So there's a little sign on the way into town that says welcome to Wales. Apparently this is kind of the back way into Wales. Usually people take another route which has a much bigger sign with the Welsh dragon on it, and this is sort of a little hello, welcome is what the guide said. So it's nice. We kind of took a more rural route. I'll be honest, I did start to turn a little bit green. I didn't quite have my sea legs because we then drove through the Cambrian Mountains, which had very windy roads all along the mountain edge. So it was a little bit, I I wasn't prepared, let's say. I didn't have a snack to nibble on or anything, which usually helps for car sickness. So, but the views were absolutely stunning. Just you got the big mountain views and the valleys down below. There's definitely more sheep I've seen than people, which is, which I love sheep. I think I spent, whenever we got out of the car and there were sheep, I went chasing after them. The guide said I couldn't keep one of them, which I think is a bit unreasonable, but I think I managed to negotiate him into saying, yes, you can keep it if you can manage to catch one. So the joke's going to be on him when I do get one. And then, so we drove through the Elon Valley, stopped at a little waterfall, and I got some nice photos of that. It was right, the viewpoint was like right on the edge, so at one point I had put my camera down and stepped back for a photo, and then realized maybe I should have been more aware of my surroundings, because I may have gone over if I took a couple of steps further. And then it was more driving after that. Finally getting to the clear other side of the United Kingdom, and so now we are spending tonight and tomorrow night in Aberystwyth, which is right on the coast by the Irish Sea. So all of that sea air, it's wonderful. And then we went to a really delicious place called Burger, which is Byrgyr, burger in Welsh. And it was a burger place featuring a lot of, I think, all local ingredients. So I had a burger called Surf and Turf. I don't know what the Welsh name for it was, but it was very good. And also a Welsh cider with that. And that was my day. It was really relaxing compared to the two in London. I find that I get a little bit too flustered when I'm in London. I'm not super used to being in a humongous city, and so navigating is not always the easiest, and I get too hot when there's crowds and all of these things, and I'm flustered and grumpy. So I'm happy to now be in a place where there's more sheep than people, so that I don't have to deal with humongous crowds. And I don't know if I mentioned, I'm doing this tour through Rabies. So actually both this tour, which is 5 days in Wales, and the next 3 days, which is doing Isle of Wight in southern England, I'm going to be using Rabies. I used them when I went to Scotland last time, and I had a really good experience. And I really like their ethos and the way they approach the tours, which is not really like the big groups. It's a small van of 14 people, and they tend to go places that are a lot more smaller, more rural, and the guide doesn't really hold a little flag and make you follow him around. He pretty much just drops you off and then says, this is what this town is about, and then sets us off, and then we can do whatever we choose to. And so, you can also adjust the tours to fit your budget range. So if you want to skip going into a particular attraction because you don't want to pay the ticket price, you don't have to, and you can always buy lots of sandwiches instead of going to a nice restaurant every day. And you can also ask them to book you a hotel in whatever price range that you feel comfortable. So I like that it's a group tour, but it has a little bit more freedom attached to it, and it's essentially what I would be doing by myself, which is trying to see a lot of it, having lots of stops without having to coordinate all of the public transport myself, seeing that I don't drive. And then it also allows people to like, because a lot of places they go is where people would have rented their own cars for a road trip. So yeah, it allows, you know, people like me who don't drive to be able to go to those places, and it minimize the amount of individual car rentals and driving that happens through these places that are not always accessible by public transport. So I'm excited for the next couple of days here in Wales. Like I said, tomorrow we're heading to Snowdonia National Park, which should be amazing. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'm sorry if my voice is a bit funny. I kind of woke up with a cough and everything. I had already fallen asleep, and it's now the next day, so I wanted to wrap up this video so I can post it. Thanks for joining me. As usual, you can find me on other social media, on Instagram at Books and Cables and Ravelry at Books and Cables, and my blog at tightly.com. You can also support the channel by buying me a coffee. All those links are down below, and I will see you tomorrow, but in a couple hours for me. Bye.